Alrighty then. Hello everybody. My name's Genesis and I have the single best commentator with me. Dope.
Hello, my name is Dope Zera.
Alright.
I run a lot of 100%.
Ooh, Hando. Nice. I like Hando. Hando is fun. Okay. We can talk a lot during the first couple of minutes, so let's get started. Any preferences for file names, Dope?
Not sure if mine are very stream friendly.
We will go with Arjut then. A friend of the stream. Usually doesn't bring any luck, that file name, but let's go nonetheless. If you want to count me down, go ahead.
Alright. 3, 2, 1, go!
Yay! We're on our way to Cutscene City. Okay then.
Yep.
I think we should explain what this category is actually. It's called any percent no ISG, and the general idea is that we beat the whole game, so all 4 dungeons, beat up Majora at the end, but with some restrictions. Apart from the no ISG part, we are not allowed to use any major glitches. So what are those major glitches we are talking about?
So, most of those major glitches, they usually fall under SRM, since most of them are associated with SRM. And to explain these abbreviations real quick, ISG stands for Infinite Sword Glitch. Basically, if you crouch stab, you could crouch stab like a sign, like anything that interrupts the crouch stab before it, like at the end of its animation, it'll cause your sword to infinitely swing, and that's abused a lot in Majora's Mask speedruns to hover around the game with explosives like bombs and bomb chews. You can also crouch stab damaged sources to get ISG too. And then as for what SRM is, I'm not the best at explaining it, but it stands for stale reference manipulation. It's used a lot in the best example I usually think of is 100% no pointer manipulation, which you use as SRM, but there are different levels of SRM, but that gets a little complicated. But for that speedrun specifically, like some examples of SRM and what it can do is we can pull various items out of a chest in the bomber's hideout behind the observatory to basically just get a bunch of items early on. And we can also manipulate actors like the Deku guards and the palace to warp to various locations, as well as grottos, specifically in the Woods of Mystery. And what's usually associated with no major glitches as well is the use of 2 tricks called ACE or TO. ACE stands for Arbitrary Code Execution. That gets very complicated as well, but there's a good, if you want to look at a good example of an ACE run, there's a task on YouTube done by Seedborn where he completes 100% of Majora's Mask in about half an hour. So if you want to watch a very interesting run, that's definitely one to check out. And then as for TO, that stands for Text Overflow. That was one of the first bigger tricks that we found before SRM, and that basically allowed us to pull up something called the debug menu by doing a heap setup and then playing Song of Soaring a bunch of times.
Was it like 63 times or something? It was a lot.
Yeah, I think originally it was like 5,000, but then like it was a ton. But then like a lot of people did a lot of labbing and testing and made the setup not take hours and hours.
No. Yeah, I remember the first runs of what's nowadays called Defeat Majora and not any percent anymore, where people split for every single song they played.
Yeah, it was a pretty big meme back then, but text overflow isn't really used in speedruns anymore. When we first found SRM, we had ideas of implementing text overflow and like in addition to SRM, which I actually believed is used in the 100% no source requirement run. I haven't seen a run of that in a while, so the route may have changed. But the last time I recall is that we pull up the debug menu, and we basically give ourselves everything, and then we can warp to the moon. Although we do have to go around the game manually to fill out the bomber's notebook to get all the red ribbons, so we do have to meet some of those events, but for the most part we can just give ourselves everything
Yeah, exactly.
in regards to that run.
Yeah, those are the glitches we are not allowed to do, and obviously we're not allowed to use any form of ISG. We are not allowed to bomb hover, bomb to hover, mega flip and then hover to gain more distance. All of that is not allowed, and that really brings a difference to the usual any percent no major glitches run, where you hover a lot. And what makes it interesting for me is, first of all, when I started speedrunning Majora's Mask like 3 years ago, I only ran SRM categories. Everything Dope just explained was what I was about, and only earlier this year I stepped away from SRM stuff temporarily to do a no SRM run. I started learning ADR, which stands for All Dungeons Restricted, but that category does have some tricks that are so annoying that I looked for something else, and I came up with this speedrun. I mean, it existed before, and people have run it before, but that's the only category that was interesting enough, for me at least, to learn. And yeah, here we am. Here we am. Good English.
English be tough sometimes. But yeah, this actually isn't on the main leaderboards of Majora's Mask. This is technically a category extension, but it's still a full game run, so definitely expect it to be very interesting. And it definitely differs from what Genesis mentioned about any percent no major glitches, since we can't use explosives to like hover out of bounds and do mega flips and like stop midair and do all that stuff. So it's definitely a very interesting run without the use of ISG, because that's a very popular trick. Like if you've ever tried to learn a Zelda speedrun before, I'm pretty sure that your first trick that you learned was ISG. Even if you're just messing around as a casual, it could even happen accidentally sometimes, especially in MM. I don't think it can really happen in OT unless you're under some certain circumstances. But before we divulge any further, we have a trick coming up that I will briefly explain. So there's a cutscene coming up here where we get about halfway up the stairs. The Happy Mess salesman is going to try to stop and talk to us for about a 40-second cutscene. What Genesis is going to do is he's going to get a specific lineup on the rotating pole in the middle of the room, and frame perfectly pause, one frame at a time, 10 times, to skip that cutscene, because cutscenes in this game take 2 frames to activate.
Whoops. Yeah, few extra frames and I messed up the last 2 of them. So yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, as soon as we have 2 consecutive frames of cutscene, the trigger triggers and we have to watch it now. So that's slightly annoying, since I was quite consistent during the last couple of runs. But there's lots of time save compared to my PB, so still not a total disaster. And I mean, the fun tricks will only start in like 15 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah, and something I saw in chat is this is actually being run on the Wii Virtual Console version. This is not being run on N64. It's basically an official N64 emulator on the Wii, if you'd like to think of it that way.
Yeah, I think the only real category left that's being ran on N64 is 100% no source requirement. since that route only works on N64 due to some arbitrary code execution stuff that's only possible on the Japanese 1.0 or 1.1 version.
Yeah, although we have definitive data that the NSO version, or the Nintendo Switch Online version of Majora's Mask, so basically the Switch port of MM, is faster. The main problems with it is that the controller layout isn't really mapped very well. The dead zone for basically how you control Link is not very great. They have some weird button mappings that just a lot of I think they literally don't even have like a button mapped. I forgot what it was. It's been a while. So really the only like possible way to like run on that version is usually with a official N64 controller that was made for the Switch, pretty much. And it just never really became meta enough for anyone to really run it, so people are still sticking to Wii Virtual Console. And then what Genesis is doing right now, to briefly explain Majora's Mask, they basically work in these things called cycles. So a cycle consists of 3 days until the moon crashes. And what we're doing right now is what's called first cycle. It's very notorious for being cutscene heavy, not a whole lot of stuff going on. So our main goal is to get the ocarina back as fast as possible, along with getting magic. And the easiest way to advance time right off the bat is to read 2 of Grandma's long stories, which advance 1 day each. So we do that twice to make it day 3, and then we can head over here to the trading post to speak with the Scarecrow, and then make it night 3. And then once we make it night 3, we can actually use up the in-game time before the clock tower opens to buy some or collect some money from Termina Field to get some explosives. So even though we did mention that we can't really use explosives for like hovering and getting out of bounds and such, they're still useful for tricks like bomb time stops, super slides, and Hesses, which we'll explain a bit later when we get to them. So while we're waiting on the clock tower door here to open, we'll just basically be running around doing errands.
I hope Rupee RNG is on my side today. But first we are grabbing the stray ferry that's here in Eastern Clocktown. There are 2 places the ferry can be. During the day it's on the, well, in the laundry pool. And during the night it's here in East Clocktown, and that guard is really bad at his job. We can just slip through him.
Yeah,
and the wall.
you don't even need like a perfectly straight angle to get past that guard.
Wow.
Like, it can't be
25.
too obscure. Oh wow, that was pretty good. But yeah, we can basically slip right past that guard with pretty much no difficulty. And normally you're not supposed to be in Termina Field during the first cycle state. And what the game considers to be a first cycle state is when you actually don't have the ocarina in your inventory. And this is actually a completely separate map from what Termina Field normally is after you finish first cycle. So for some reason, they still placed all the bushes here, but there's no grottos, there's no enemies, there's no chests, like rupee chests. The loading zones do still exist to access like the other 4 areas of the game, but it's not really useful to go there, at least in this speedrun. So since they placed the bushes here conveniently, it's very nice because we can basically just go around Termina Field and collect money. And we could alternatively go inside of the inn and grab the 100 rupee chest in Anju's room, but that'll basically, opening doors and going through loading zones will pause in-game time, and we want to pause in-game time as like not as much as we can. So going in Termina Field here is just a good way to burn up time.
Really
and
good
get money.
rupee RNG.
Yep. So we ended up maxing out our wallet here, so that's very nice.
That skips a stupid jump later on, so that's nice. Okay, time for the ferry. And I don't know why she still creeps me out after all these years. Alright, we get magic. And magic will be quite important throughout the run. So basically all of Link's forms, Deku Link, Goron Link, Zora Link, and even Fierce Deity if you want to call it like that, use magic with some of their techniques. Like Deku Link can blow up Deku bubbles and hit enemies, Goron Link can roll around really quickly, and Zora Link can have a basically damage shield to attack enemies, which is useful. And yeah, magic is quite important for us. And without magic, we wouldn't be able to get Ocarina at all.
I might be remembering this wrong, but I think there is a way to knock down Skull Kid to get your Ocarina back without magic, but it's very scuffed and takes a really long time, so not really worth going through the hassle of doing that. So we're just going to go ahead and grab magic, and while it's not really necessary to finish the run, at least I think, I could be wrong, it's just way too time consuming to do that, so no reason to skip it.
Okay, I want to talk about why I didn't do any Bomber Kid stuff.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna do a funny little backflip here to grab the ledge that's
if I can do it.
normally too high for Deku Link to grab. This trick is called a gainer. If you're facing a wall and you do a backflip and then immediately retarget, instead of Link just going back, he'll basically do like an upwards backflip, allowing him to grab higher ledges. So we can skip having to get the Moon's Tear and the to give to the scrub to have access to that Deku Flower. And obviously no need to get that heart piece.
Yeah, I will end up getting some of the heart containers for safety, but usually you're not going to die, since we will have quite a lot of healing items later on. Okay, more story stuff.
Yep, we're almost near the end of first cycle here. Just gonna get our Ocarina back, learn Song of Time, and then we'll watch a few more cutscenes, and then the cool stuff will begin.
Yes. And if you are not liking first cycle, there are actually opportunities to run the exactly same category without first cycle with a race file. So if you want
so for most of the runs on the category extensions, they usually, like, most of them like make you start out on a race file, but for these full game runs, you have the option of doing a new file or a race file. And really that just comes down to preference, whether you want to do first cycle or not. But I think for a marathon setting, it makes sense to do first cycle because it's more of a complete run instead of just like, oh, hey, we skipped like 23 minutes of the game and here we go.
The only time
it also
we
gives us
see
time
the princess...
to explain stuff.
Oh yeah, first cycle is perfect for explaining. If you are doing race file stuff, usually the action happens after like 2 minutes when you get your bomb back or anything else.
Yeah, I'd have to be talking way faster than I am right now to keep up.
Okay, we learned Precious Song, which will help us a lot in a casual context. Nowadays, in the true any %, we don't get our Ocarina at all. We just escape to the moon somehow and beat up the final boss, which is ridiculous that it even works.
Yeah, the current any % run does like not end up grabbing the Ocarina at all or learning Song of Time. People do call it first cycle skip, although we technically don't skip past first cycle, we basically just finish the run in first cycle.
Yeah, I prefer the term human in first cycle for that route.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, time to not press reset too early.
Yes.
Perfect, I didn't pull an Arju. And yes,
Time text box. You watch all these like flashback cutscenes, and it's very slow, but the game actually immediately saves on frame 1 of pressing yes on that Song of Time text box, so we're able to just reset. Obviously played it safe, because if you reset before you save, we'd have to do first cycle over again, and that's not fun.
exactly. And yeah, the Wii Virtual Console resets are kind of slow. I think only GameCube is even slower, but on the N64 it's so much faster since you skip like 2 screens.
Yeah, N64 hard reset is definitely the fastest.
Alright, second song learned.
Huge.
Officially, there are 10 songs in this game, but you have access to more of them with SRM. You can actually play a Saria song, a Sun song, and I think that's it.
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, Saria
Fun,
song.
I guess fun fact about those while we're watching cutscenes.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so for Sun Song, it works the same exact way as it does in Ocarina of Time. It just makes it turn night very quickly, but we can actually abuse that to our advantage, because since this game relies... I'm not sure if this works the same way in Ocarina of Time, but at least in the Majora's Mask, if you play Sun Song and then walk through a loading zone, whatever time the clock stops on as soon as the loading zone like activates and starts transitioning you to the next area, it'll actually pause the clock wherever it stopped. So we're able to use that to time specific events like Blast Mask or Aliens. And then if you play Saria's song, it just starts playing the Final Hours music. Nothing else.
Yeah, that's kind of strange, at least for Saria's song. I've used Sun Song in quite a lot of speedruns that do allow SRM. So yeah, Sun Song is fun, especially if you do like Aliens with Sun Song.
Yeah, the funny way, the way the 100% no pointer manipulation run does Aliens is we get Sun Song via chest SRM, and we actually play Sun Song, and if you actually pause during the alien sequence, you can basically prevent them from going into the barn, because actually it is technically possible to do this without Sun Song, but it would take way longer. Actually, in unpause lag, so like the game is not even like advancing at that point, in-game time still actually passes, but since Sun Song is going like very fast, you're able to just do like, I don't remember how many it was, like 13 or so pauses, and then you can just keep the aliens in place while advancing in-game time, so that you end up winning the alien sequence.
And off we go.
Yep, we have a few more text boxes here, and then we'll be free.
Yes, after these text boxes I will get my bomb bag and I will buy bomb juice. Not for hovering, but for something quite different and the hardest trick in the run, at least in my opinion.
Yep. There will be a very neat trick once we enter Woodfall Temple, but we'll cover that a little bit beforehand. But for now, we're just stocking up on explosives, and we'll be heading to the swamp.
Yeah, since we're not allowed to use ISG, we can't use any grotto alternate exits. Wanna go over that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, a grotto alternate exit, basically, if you get in one grotto, you can hop out, you can get out of bounds in that one and hop in another, and that's because all the grottos are on the same map. Although the textures aren't there, the collision and loading zones still exist. So theoretically, you can go in one grotto and come out any grotto that you choose. And it's particularly useful in the any percent no major glitches category because we can go in the Swamp Gossips Grotto, and then we can come out to the Grotto in Deku Palace to get Sonata very quickly. But since we can't do any ISG or hovering, we're just gonna make our way to the swamp. Although we do have some cool tricks coming up here to make that a little bit faster than just by walking. So a trick that we have right here is something called bomb time stop. Basically, if you pause on the last frame where all the bomb particle effects are gone, if you hit a cutscene item and then shield, Link will actually enter the time stop state, which is basically where Link is able to move around during a cutscene state. So the game considers Link to be in a cutscene, but he can still move. And we can actually just use that to skip the cutscene here that normally happens when you get close to the swamp entrance for the first time. And then this is a Hess or hyperextended super slide. If you roll on a certain set of frames before the bomb explodes, and then you press target, and then you hold a position called ESS or extended super slide position. It's basically the state where Link will kind of like turn to the right, and if you like turn to the right and then target, he'll basically be in a shuffling state. That's how you know you have ESS. So if you do that, you're able to just retain the bomb, the damage and the speed the bomb gives you, and just fly backwards. And then here Genesis is trying to, actually that's day 2, never mind. I was about to troll myself. I was about to say he's trying to skip the cutscene here, but that's only on day 2. And then there's optional Hess that you can do through the Woods of Mystery here that looks very cool, but it is also tough, so spinning here with Deku isn't that bad.
And yeah, keep in mind, I'm quite new to no SRM speedruns, so I'm not that experienced with all of the pro speedrunner strats. Wow, slow walk. So yeah, this route in particular I'm doing is not the fastest one for this category. I am way more comfortable doing this one since it doesn't require deleting my ocarina. More of that later.
Yeah, there's an alternate. Yeah, well, we can explain that a little bit later, but basically that route uses it uses a trick called Equip Swap to basically get around not having a item in the upright direction or a spot in our inventory to do the egg dupes. So we end up doing it over Ocarina, which would delete it, and then we need to do a trick called Get Item Manipulation to get that back, but that's a lot of stuff there we'll cover a little bit later.
Okay, time for the trick.
And actually for something I saw in chat was, it's not just, like, it's the action of Link still holding a bomb and giving, like, you can only do it with a bomb, like, you can't just do it off any source of damage for the time stop we did there at the beginning.
Okay, the trick glitchless runners would like to do. I mean, they can skip the octo,
limit.
But oops, that was too early. Long jumps are not allowed in glitchless, so they have to do a very precise jump, which is, as I just said, really precise and ends a lot of runs. What I just did is a long jump, and that's basically free. I keep messing that up for no reason, but today it worked first try, which is nice. And yeah, that way we can skip the boat ride and are in the Deku Palace quite a lot faster.
Yeah, so basically if you're on the edge of a ledge and a bomb is directly behind you, it'll project Link forward pretty far, and we're able to get on top of that little ledge to the left of the Octorok, and then we put on Deku Mask and then Void Out in the water, and then that'll allow us to respawn up on that ledge and go around the Octorok and get spat out the other side. And then here we're going to have an example of a damage boost. So Genesis is going to get in the corner here with a specific position, and then backflip and take damage at the right time. Nice. And then get on top of the fence here, and then we're able to just use the Deku Flowers here to go straight to the Monkey Chamber to learn Sonata. So nice. That one's not easy.
But yeah, I need to wait a little, since I'm way too far away to just fly over there. But this should be fine. Just holding down left, down right, and it should work every time.
Yeah, so a term that you might have heard me just briefly mention real quick. So I said pop-up, and what I mean by that is if Link is like, it's not all collision that works like this. There's only a few examples, but you just saw it right there where he kind of just like popped up onto the platform there. And some of these, the way some of this collision works is, I don't really know how to explain it the best, but like it looks like Link is not, like, because you can't really ledge grab that, you know, with Deku, so the collision kind of ends up popping Link up. I forget how it works technically, but we'll see another example of that that's a lot easier to see with getting up to Song of Soaring.
Exactly. I will go safe for that, though.
And pop-ups are not a glitch.
Yeah, since you don't clip into the collision itself.
Yeah, you're not clipping into the collision. The collision just kind of like pops you up, hence pop-up.
Okay, we got another.
Immediately, you need to use ISG to hover. So we're actually going to delay doing that trick a little bit later, and we'll just grab Song of Soaring now, so that we just don't have to come back. Because you don't have to hit the owl first and then grab Soaring. You can get the song immediately up.
Whoop.
You didn't learn the song.
Yep, I noticed. That could have been bad.
Yeah, not forgetting that song wouldn't have been good, but we caught it. So we'll basically end up, we'll explain the trick a little bit later, but we'll be using something called negative infinity length Deku Stick to hit the out of bounds owl.
Yep.
And in order to do that, we need bow and the Deku Stick. You can also do it with hookshot, but bow's just a bit easier to get right now. It'll make coming back to Woodfall later a bit more convenient. And yeah, it'll make it faster, really.
Okay, time for Woodfall. Yeah, we won't beat the dungeon in one go. That's a minor spoiler. We will come back when we are better equipped.
Yeah, when we come back later, we'll be able to use fire arrows to light the torch to unbar the door, to get to the door where the boss door is, or the room.
No, I want.
And then we'll also be able to do a very neat boss key skip using something called hookshot slide that uses milk.
Yeah, milk is huge in this game. Nice, double stick drop. That doesn't happen often.
That's pretty lucky. So something you might have saw, like, I don't know how observant some of you might be, but we're not actually hitting the owl statues right now, because if we were to do that, it would basically make doing hidden owl later on meaningless, because if you hit any owl statue, even before you do Hidden Owl, it'll just make the trick deactivate or just not work in general, because there's already a owl statue that's placed on the map when he plays Song of Soaring. But anyways, we have a very fancy trick coming up here that I would be silent for, so I'll explain it real quick. Before that, there's going to be a cool little backflip onto this bottom tree root to just skip some Deku flying, nothing too complicated. And then once we enter the main room here, Genesis is going to be doing a very fancy recoil flip into a damage boost to basically get on top of the torch here, to basically skip having to go through the dark room and light all those torches and crossing down the stairs as you would do casually. So it's a very neat trick. Basically going to be getting to a specific setup here, doing an inverted recoil flip, and then using a chew to damage boost onto the torch here across the room.
First try, let's go.
Nicely done, very clean. So yeah, very cool trick. You don't really see that in many categories these days. You will play perfect.
Of course I will. Okay, all of that to get bow, so we can get
Yep.
the stick stuff Job mentioned and actually hit the hidden owl without hovering.
You could technically do that recoil flip and damage boost unbuffered, but I believe it's multiple frame perfect, so
yeah,
it's not really viable to do it without pause buffering. And also something you saw, very minor, but Genesis did a jump slash with the stick, and we did something called a power crouch stab. So on the Japanese version of Majora's Mask, they actually patched this in the English version. Your crouch stab will basically take the value from your previous attack, and that'll basically make the damage value of your crouch stab. So if you do a Deku Stick jump slash and then you do a crouch stab, that'll basically do the damage of a Deku Stick jump slash, so we can kill that Alphos very quickly.
I actually just jump attacked onto the enemy. It didn't PCS. But
I explained it anyway, so yeah, there you go.
We'll have use for that later. Okay, time to buy a stick. Okay, and now I will make it night 1.
Yep, so we need to make a knight here because in order to do that, so we're actually going to be doing the hidden owl trick now since we're back in Clocktown. And in order for this trick to work, we need to do something called action swap, and we need to light the torch. Light the Deku Stick with a torch, and this torch is only lit up at night. So we'll make it night, we'll get action swap off of the Rose's sister, we'll light our Deku Stick, and this will make it negative infinity length, so it goes backwards forever, and then we can just hit the owl statue all the way over there without having to do any bomb hovering.
Yeah, what Hidden Owl allows us to do is put our cursor somewhere on the map before actually soaring, and depending on what point we have our cursor on, we will warp somewhere completely different. Like now, I placed my cursor on Deku Palace, and now I'm here.
Yep, and then just another Hess here, doing some fancy movement to basically get to the lens cave. And then to briefly explain action swap, it's actually a very complicated glitch, even though it's pretty easy. The inputs are you just hold bow in your hand or hookshot, you hold shield, and then you press the bow or you press like stick and A at the same time. And you'll basically, you have to do that with like an interactable sign or text box. And then by lighting the torch, or lighting your Deku stick with the torch, does some really crazy things. Like, it's too over my head for me to explain properly, but it's very cool looking.
Okay, I got another stick just in case for the very last fight in the game. Whoa. Oh god, my camera is messed up. Where am I? I want to jump somewhere like here. And I fell down. Slippery slopes, yay. Big fan of ice physics.
Yeah, so we actually don't need the owl to cross these ice platforms. If you already know where they are, you can just cross them because the collision still exists.
Well, that was stupid. Okay, I just threw a bomb so I can get 50 rupees from the chest, and I don't think the rock blew up. Or did it? It did not.
I don't think it did.
Yikes. Stupid rock. And that's for milk later on.
Yep, so just getting lens here, refilling our bombs, and then getting money to buy milk from the Gorman Bros at the racetrack later on. And then we'll be soaring back to Mountain Village. And normally, in most glitch speedruns, you'll see something called we call it the Goron Seam Walk. It's basically, it allows us to get, it uses IHG, so obviously we can't do it, but it allows us to do a seam walk all the way up the mountain here to skip having to climb this ladder, but that's pretty much the only way of doing that seam walk is with IHG, otherwise you'll like slip and fall down. So, just gotta climb the ladder.
And yeah, I'm doing chat a favor and I'm not spamming lens.
Yeah, we could be annoying and mash lens here because if you constantly spam lens to turn it on and off, it actually won't consume any magic. But you actually don't really need to mash it for it to work. You can just do it like in small intervals.
Okay, finally up here. And now we have a little cutscene for getting Goron Mask, and then we will have a neat little trick coming up. Since we are in need of some bottles to store some potentially like Zora eggs or something, we only got one bottle so far from the red potion. So in order to store more stuff in our bottles, we need to increase the amount of bottles we have. And there is a way to duplicate bottles, and that also makes use of the ESS position. We can actually duplicate bottles onto items that currently have no ammunition, like my Deku stick, my bombs, my, I don't know, Deku nuts. I can dupe a bottle over all of them, and even over Lens of Truth, since this right here was the only instance we need that.
Yeah, you have to do it with a item that specifically has an ammo count programmed into the item usage. If you try to do it with like, for example, like if you try to do it with like having like a bomb chew, you'd get something called ocarina items. So we need to make sure that it's empty, but for whatever reason, they programmed it so lens has an ammo count, question mark, so we're able to dupe over it.
Okay.
And we basically just need a bottle contents in Link's hand to be able to do these inputs. So we'll be using the spring water here. So if we go into ESS position and then target to lock it so he shuffles in place, we can hit the hot spring water here and then the item we want to dupe over.
And yeah, one detail, I will catch more hot spring water, but since it's not in its usual spot, it's over lens, it doesn't really run out of time, which is nice, I think. We can use it like in 30 minutes, and it still hasn't...
Yeah, it'll become useful later on.
Yeah, definitely. For 2 instances.
And yes, this category has one more restriction on top of the no major glitches restriction.
Time for Zora. Prepare your sad emotes.
Yeah, prepare the Bible thumps.
And yeah, in the English version you just can grab onto him and you will never let go, but on the Japanese version you have to actually do it properly. Which can be annoying at times, but usually it's fine. You could also skip the cutscene of Mika walking on the beach, but no, I won't do that. I have my equips in muscle memory and they don't include bombs. You could do a time stop and then walk backwards into the loading zone of Zara Cape, I think it is, and then you can come back and that saves quite a bit of time.
Yeah, there are 2 strategies to skipping the cutscene here of him walking up the beach. The first one is what Genesis mentioned. We basically push him as just fairly close to the shore, and then we get bomb time stop, and then we push him, and then we can move around during the cutscene. So we'll go to the other loading zone and just skip that cutscene, and then just go back over and play Song of Healing. The other strategy is to it's a lot more complicated, but you basically do a recoil flip over to Macau, and then you push him a certain amount of times, and then you put on Goron, and you'll basically time the cutscenes so that he'll be pushed to the shore. There will be timer counting down on when the cutscene is supposed to start of him walking up the beach, and then you time that as soon as you hit the loading zone for Zora Cape at the same time the cutscene starts. That's the more advanced method.
Hashtag Bible thumb.
Brew. I'm gonna go grab some water during this cutscene.
Yeah, I forgot what the law for this is, but I think Majora messed up the whole area, and the Great Bay Temple, the dungeon in this area, is surrounded by storms, and Mikau went to grab the Zora eggs of Lulu, one of the stars of the Zora band kind of thingy, whatever their name is. And, well, he got hurt, and now he ended up here on the shore, and now we can wear his face for some reason. Yeah, Link apparently likes wearing other people's faces. But oh well. Yeah, I just talked about ripping off Zora faces and wearing them. You didn't miss much.
Oh, nice.
Okay, little optimization is getting hit. Okay, that's not optimal. Putting on another transformation mask before you transform into the new transformation you get, or you have access to. That way you skip the little screaming animation you can't skip for the first time it happens. We saw that for Deku earlier, we couldn't skip that. But when we got Goron, we actually turned Deku beforehand, and that way skipped the screaming animation of Goron Link.
Yeah. We also did that for Zora too.
Yep. Okay, now this. I will not go the optimal way, since I'm slow, and every time I attempt it, I fail. So no Zora diving or dolphin diving. I will just make sure that I'm not being seen.
Yep, and then this little section here in Pirate's Fortress is actually going to be very similar to Glitchless. I mean, I think it's exactly what Glitchless does, but obviously we can't hover over into Pirate's Fortress, and we don't have the hook shot, so we have to go through the sewers.
I mean, there is a way recently discovered with a Deku sword, but no, that's kind of hard to do, especially in a marathon setting. And I think Druk came up with a setup last week or something. So
okay, I see.
That's not something I wanted to implement for a marathon run. That would make us skip Goron completely, and I would have to adjust like every segment. But yeah, Deku sword is interesting. You get your sword stolen by that weird bird in Terminal Field, get it back and do some weird stuff, and then you can use a sword as Deku Link. Weird stuff. Yeah, this is actually a fun section. Casually, I didn't really like Pirate's Fortress, but after doing this a few times in speedruns, it's not that bad. Especially if you don't have to collect the eggs. Minor spoiler. We will only collect one single egg.
Yep, we'll only need one egg because we'll be able to duplicate it. So no need to get the rest.
But in order to do that without deleting our ocarina, we need an item on the top right of our inventory. That's usually the slot where Moon's Tear or the title deeds go. And yeah, we will actually get Moon's Tear to do some stuff. At least in this particular route I'm currently doing. Okay. I have PTSD from falling down here, so I'm retargeting. Yeah, I've basically done every mistake in previous runs you can possibly do, so I will just try to avoid doing them in a marathon. We do have an estimate to not mess up.
So something interesting coming up here is we're actually able to just side hop right around this pirate and do some rolls because they can't catch you while you're side hopping or rolling. And we're able to just go around this guard, hop in this corner, and then just shoot the beehive from behind the cape there. And the reason why we're actually able to go around this guard is for a long time it was actually believed that the only reason was because the pirates just have bad vision and they just can't see you from the door. But actually, I think Kozlik or Kita found out like 2 years ago or so that the pirate was actually moved just ever so slightly back on the Japanese version, where it's basically just out of the line of sight to catch you. So that's why it works on the Japanese version and not the English version. Because on the English version, they place it ever so slightly more forward. But that's in addition to them having bad vision.
Okay,
because
playing
it is nighttime.
Song of Double Time in here to actually skip a little cutscene of that. It's now blah 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 time. We don't get that. And before that, I actually put my map cursor somewhere. to warp to a different place. I put it on Clocktown, so we will now warp to Milk Road, and that's where we buy our milk. And I made sure that I caught the egg in a duped bottle and not in a real one, so the milk can go in a real bottle.
Yep, they only fill your milk bottle if it is a real bottle. They will not put it in the duped bottle, unfortunately.
Yeah, such scammers. Stop attacking, Link. Oh, you're angry. But yeah, quick detour to get the Moon's Tear. And after getting Moon's Tear, it's getting interesting.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier with the way how we're gonna replicate the eggs using a trick called a flip swap, the optimal route does it over Ocarina, so it does it over the up left item slot. But if you dupe over, like if you equip swap an egg over that the Ocarina slot, and then you empty that egg into the tank, and that'll actually write a bottle over your Ocarina, and then we need to do a gem, or a get item manipulation, off of a chest in Great Bay to get our Ocarina back. So getting the Moon's Tear gives us easy access to basically like, it's a useless upright item, or upright position in our pause screen to do the equip swaps over, because it can't be anywhere else, because the trick only works in the up left and upright notches, or I guess the diagonals. So the only purpose here is to just let us do equip swaps without overwriting our Ocarina.
Wow. And the timing is
so we
very
can't
precise.
See our first instance.
And I am not really good, apparently.
Yeah, equip swaps are frame perfect. It's also a double input at 30 FPS because the pause screen. So for FPS statistics in this game, the base game, like normal gameplay, runs at 20. The title, the title screen, like the file select, runs at 60, and the pause screen in game runs at 30. So these equip swaps are frame perfect at 30 FPS. So not easy to do, but you're gonna get to see a lot of them here.
One.
So yeah, we already did one instance of equip swap, so we're just gonna empty that egg. And since we did the equip swap over the Moon's Tear, that'll write a bottle over the Moon's Tear, but that doesn't matter because we don't need the Moon's Tear.
2. And yes, I will keep counting, since it's quite important.
Okay. Yes, we do need to keep count of our eggs here, because if we accidentally miscount and we drop our egg too early, our real egg, we'd have to go to Pinnacle Rock to get another one.
4.
And then to actually explain like how equip swap works, you basically put your item cursor over the item that you want to equip swap. So here Genesis is putting his cursor over the egg, and then he's page turning to the right and then page turning to the left, and then there's that one frame where you can put up left and a C button, and that'll basically equip the egg over a different item slot, so we're able to just preserve the original egg.
And that's number 6. I can now drop the real egg.
Nice. Those are very like bad at all.
Yeah, decent. I've had a few perfect ones, like 6 attempts, and it works 6 times, but usually in runs it doesn't work. Okay.
Yep, and then coming up here, we're gonna have a cutscene skip. So Genesis is gonna pull the ocarina and then mash ocarina and start, and then we're basically gonna get the New Wave Bossa Nova song here right as he pulls ocarina, and then we can just soar away without having to watch the cutscene. Nice. So we got the pause. We already have the song, and we can just soar away.
Whew. I failed that so many times in recent attempts, and I have no idea why. Bad mashing. Mashing the start button is not the easiest.
Yeah, you actually can mash start and ocarina, so you can double your chances of making sure you don't fail it.
Oh,
Also,
today I
this is
learned.
something called a ZOS. Yeah, that trick there was a ZOS, a Zora Water Extended Super Slide. So he basically just pressed A right before he stood up in the shore, and then just held ESS and target, and you can kind of like shuffle your way forward over to the loading zone. And then here we have another cutscene skip coming up, so we're going to get in a specific position to get close to the loading zone so we can do a side hop into the loading zone. And then similar to HMS at the beginning of the run, we're basically going to pause on one frame to skip it.
I missed it. Yeah, I've trouble timing it, so I went for the option of mashing, but didn't work out. And that's quite a lot of time loss, actually.
Yeah, usually mashing for this trick specifically isn't really the best way to go about it. Most runners do just time it. It is a frame perfect input that you only have one try at. So it's not easy to do. I should have explained that earlier so you could focus, but that's my fault. Whatever.
It's not a big deal. I don't think... Did my PB get that? I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, we still should be on decent pace. So, estimate is...
Did you go for PCS?
No. I will not go for PCS. I think I know the setup. I learned it for ADR, but it's been a while.
Okay. So yeah, that trick Genesis just tried to attempt with the frame perfect pause was called TCS, or Turtle Cutscene Skip, basically just to skip the cutscene we just watched. We'd basically get that frame perfect pause right after the song is done playing, and then we would basically buffer a side hop frame by frame into the loading zone and start the cutscene as we hit the loading zone.
Yeah.
And then there was the optional PCS, or the pirate cutscene skip, so it's basically, it would skip the cutscene that we're about to watch right now by pretty much using the same principles.
And yeah, if you get both of them, it's quite a lot of time save. But, oh well. We can enjoy a fantastically crafted cutscene.
True.
And yeah, now we are set up with everything we need, and now we can actually go ahead and beat all 4 dungeons.
Yep, so now it's basically a dungeon rush at this point. We're done getting prepped, so a lot of cool stuff you're about to see.
Yeah, especially the longest dungeon, this one.
Yep.
Whew.
Longest dungeon in the whole run right here. We're gonna have to go around through all the rooms, turning the switches, manipulating the flow of water.
Or we could do this.
What are you doing? Yo, what?
Oh no, he's cheating.
What he's up to.
What? Okay, interesting. I think I can just keep it. Okay. Oh, boss door.
Whoa.
Oh no, how did
This
that
man
happen?
is a genius.
Well, I just copy what people came up with.
So yeah, that was just the boss key skip from the very start of the dungeon. And what Genesis is trying to do right now is shoot Gyorg by using a trick called bow extension. You basically can just clip your bow through the collision of the wall there, and we're able to just snipe Gyorg. And if we already hit Gyorg before we fall down, and we can basically avoid the cutscene of him like swimming around and stuff.
Yeah, we have very calm music in this fight. Since the boss music doesn't stop playing.
Yep, and then here we could just swim into Gyorg repeatedly to get him into a stun lock and trigger the second phase, and then just repeat.
Don't swim too far, fishy. Okay. Stop.
Yeah. This is a little scary here because if Gyorg does end up eating Link, that will cause 2 hearts of damage, and then we will die and we'll have to do the boss key skip over again.
Whew, we did it.
But nice.
Yeah, on the Japanese version, this fight is slightly more dangerous than in the English version. The English version is really easy.
Yeah, in the English version, you could repeatedly, so in the English version, Zorlink can use the barrier without having to, like, you don't have to hold the A button. You can basically just be sinking in water and just press the R button. So we're able to just repeatedly, rise and sink in the water to just keep Gyorg stun locked. But in the Japanese version, we have to swim to activate the barrier, so makes it a little bit more tricky, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, especially the part after the first phase. If you know how to get out of the water safely and set up the second bowl or Zora Finn's hit to get the last 3 hits in, it's not that bad.
Yep, and this will be 1 out of 2 Giants cutscenes we'll be watching, I believe.
Yes. If I don't mess up,
Okay.
we will watch 2.
Okay. So one of them is required, even if we were to skip. Like, you can't skip all of them because we do need to learn Oath to Order, and the only other way of getting Oath to Order is by using SRM, and that's banned. So we got to watch the cutscene in order to activate the final sequence for going up to the moon.
We could just moonwarp. And cheat.
We could just moonwarp. But we'd be a dirty cheater at that point.
Yes, I don't want to be labeled a dirty cheater again.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I'm one of the only few people in the community that actually do like SRM. Usually people say, nah, it's broken the game. I was stuck with no major glitches, which is fine. I totally get that. But SRM is what got me into MN. So I can't really abandon it by now.
Yeah, there are a select people in the community here, you know, including Genesis, where they just prefer of doing speedruns of the game with SRM, which is really just a preference. Like I'm personally a more fan of no major glitches, but I'm just old school. So I'm kind of like I'm almost a boomer at this point.
Meter magic, the game. Okay, I will need this, I will need that, and milk. And I want to go here.
Ooh, yeah, so we're about to see our first instance of something called remote hookshot, and it's going to allow us to skip we're going to do a lullaby skip from the start of, so normally lullaby skip done in 80% NMG is by doing S all the way up into the temple, but that uses ISG so that we can't fall off the ledge. That's banned. So there's another way here where we can do the trick here from the beginning of the ramp.
I need to get close to this wooden thingy here and do this. And now it's important
so we shot the hook shot
roll.
and interrupted it with milk.
Yeah, rolling would kill everything now, so I'm not rolling, but I'm falling down, apparently. My angle seems to be off. Okay.
Yep, and then we'll just do a bunch of side hops to get up to the top of this slope here. And then we're gonna pull hook shot so that Link will start like doing the action of buffering the hook shot, and then we're gonna cross to the other side by so if we put on it, okay, it's a little complicated, but we basically with the little flagpole there, Genesis held target, pressed hook shot, and then milk, and then we avoided rolling, got up onto this slope here. We pressed hook shot and then we equipped over it, and then if you put on Zora, if you start slashing over like a ledge, you will just stay in the air and the wind won't fight back against you. So we're able to just cross the other side so that we can get enough height to get to the top of the ramp here.
Yeah, if I were to side hop, backflip, or use any item, I would soft lock. I would just...
Yep, we would just be falling in the air forever.
Yeah. Which has happened before, so I will make sure to not do any of those. And yeah, and after that it's time for my favorite dungeon in this run. Since we actually do some fun stuff.
Yeah, Snowhead's pretty cool.
And yeah, apart from not being blown away, I can actually just be hit by one of those boulders or snowballs and they won't damage me at all. And we are in.
Very nice.
I will need this and water.
Yep, so we can use that preserved hot spring water that we put in the lens bottle to just melt the ice here. And then we'll be doing another instance of remote hook shot here after we do this precise hook shot, not a remote hook shot, just a precise hook shot called Scarecrow Skip. So Genesis is in a very specific position. And then there's a single line of pixels here at the top, nice, that we can just hook shot this torch and just get up to the upper level here very quickly. And then we're going to cross to the other side to grab fire arrows, and then we'll be doing another, we'll be doing the second instance of remote hook shot. So Wizrobe, the way he works, for the first 2 hits, he'll just spawn at a random platform here in the room. And then after you hit him twice, he'll basically be starting to try to start a cutscene, but, oh, went a little too far. He'll basically be trying to start that cutscene we just watched. And there actually is I believe it's a 2-frame window where he's vulnerable to damage and you can hit him and he just won't start that cutscene. Not a huge deal though.
Okay, fire arrows. Which can be skipped in no major glitches, but I like them. What am I doing?
Love some fire arrows.
Okay, time for another remote hookshot. Off of this torch.
Yep, so we're gonna go down. Yep, we're gonna go down to this torch here, and then we're gonna basically be doing the same inputs that we did on that flagpole in Snowhead. So we're gonna equip swap the milk here just to preserve it. And then we'll basically be doing those same inputs, but instead of using it to hover with Zora, we're actually just gonna be doing a straight up vertical leap to get inside of the snowball bridge here.
Was really early.
Yep, very nice. Link's got an insane vertical. He needs to play basketball.
Oh yes. Okay, I want that, I want that, and I want this. And you can actually just backwalk and still skip the boss key. And there are multiple setups. I prefer the ESS one. Like 3 ESS left. One more. Come on. And just backwalk and you're through. No boss key needed.
Yep. Alternatively, what we did for a long time is we normally just did a recoil flip into the corner, and then we just held right and just kind of like clipped behind the boss door and just did a jump slash into the loading zone. But I think like a year ago, Pushy found that the icicle actually just clips you through, so it's very easy and looks funny.
Okay, I will start the fight with 1.5 hearts instead of 3/4. So I can get hit by RNG stuff, but it won't kill me if I have 1.5 hearts. Just to be safe.
Yep, alright, and then for the goat fight, it's pretty simple. Normally goat runs around the room and you chase it using Goron, but if we stand in this specific spot, we'll actually be able to keep goat locked in this position where he's like waiting for us to go out into the open so he can shoot lightning. But if we wait for too long, there actually is a timer for when he'll just start charging us. So we'll basically time it so that we shoot arrows right as he starts charging us at the end, so that the remains warp is right next to us. It's a very easy fight.
Oh no, the bomb is gonna explode. Oh no. Another
Dude, you
bomb.
gotta stop taking damage.
Oh no. Let's put on hookshot, maybe that prevents stuff.
You both think, what is he doing?
Oh no, another bomb. Run, Link, run! Oh no, I'm dead.
No, dude, what the heck?
How could that happen? I'm such a noob. Which is true.
So that was a trick called Remains Escape. The death was intentional, do not worry. But basically what we did is we got hookshot in Link's hand, and then we walked into the remains there in the blue warp, and then we pulled Ocarina, and we played Song of Double Time, and that'll basically start playing the song cutscene for Song of Double Time, and we'll also pick up the remains at the same time, and that'll actually prevent us from like getting warped away normally after you pick up remains. So we're able to just grab the remains and then die, because the only way out of that room is death, pretty much.
Yep. Or the blue warp.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, or the blue warp. You can't play Song of Double Time or Song of Soaring, so death is the only option there. Yeah, I believe if you try to, you can normally in the 100% no major glitches category, we actually do that with inverted Song of Time. But I believe on the English version, if you use Song of Double Time, it crashes.
Yeah, something like that.
Am I right? Yeah. So for the 80% no major glitches speedrun, they do Remains Escape, but they use inverted Song of Time instead.
Oh no, he quit milk again. What is he gonna do?
Oh man. So this is the convenience of doing Woodfall in 2 trips. So we already have the fire arrows, so you're able to just light that torch. And then we can cross the room very easily with hookshot.
Yeah, I will actually grab these. and kill the dragonflies. I hate them. They need to be not here. Oh god, aiming.
I know ISOT doesn't crash for twin mold on any 100% NMG Majora.
This torch. What? Thank you.
Yep, and then another instance of remote hookshot. So we're seeing a bunch of applications of remote hookshot, although they're used a bit differently, and like how they're visually represented, we're still basically doing the same inputs just a little differently.
Oops. Good thing I equip swapped.
And what this is, I'll actually wait till you guys watch it, because I like the way this one looks. It's very funny.
Yeah, I forgot to equip the empty bottle, so it didn't work.
Very nice.
Well, that was a stupid time loss.
So yeah, that's called a, what I call it a hook slide, because he just starts sliding forward by repeatedly pulling the hook shot, and it basically just clips you through the door. There is a chance that can crash, but it's pretty easy to avoid. And then here we can use a power crouch stab that I explained earlier on in Woodfall, in the first trip of Woodfall, but we just do a jump slash with the Kukiri sword, and we can just crouch stab Adola to his death.
Why I hate pausing here. Messes up everything. Okay, now we're gonna set up an interesting glitch called Fourth Day. Okay, and this cutscene with the giant starts. It will say 24 hours remaining. And after the cutscene, well, you will see what happens. Something unexpected maybe for some people.
So yeah, we intentionally failed the normal way of doing Remains Escape, because we didn't really escape from the remains, but we still did the trick where we pulled the hook shot or pulled the ocarina and then grabbed the remains
And played
and
Song of
did
Doubt
some funky
time.
stuff within game time. Yeah.
But yeah, this will come in
Also, that
useful
makes sense, Majora.
later.
Yeah, I have no idea why you get Fourth Day off of this. I
think Feely found that by accident while messing around.
Oh, did he?
I think so. I think they did a run.
This is relatively new.
Failed it for some reason, and then found out that they actually could enter Clock Tower after Twin Mode. And the HUD looks completely different on Fourth Day. Yeah, we don't have the clock on screen anymore.
Yeah, the normal the conventional way of doing Fourth Day is you basically talk to the guy in the observatory to go into the telescope right before the moon crashes, and that does some funky stuff to get you Fourth Day. And then Zeroth Day is English only. That involves saving at the Hidden Owl statue. But with Fourth Day activated, it's like Genesis just mentioned, for whatever reason on Fourth Day, the entrance to the clock tower door is or like to the upper area is open to go to the moon. So we don't have to like hover in or bomb boost or anything. And now we have no in-game clock too, so the moon will never crash. Kappa.
I hope it won't.
And then there's another instance of time stop, but this time using a bottled fairy instead of a bomb.
Come on, milk.
And then here we can melt away the sunblock here with the hot spring water.
Still
And
no
then we'll
idea
also
why
be
that works.
using... Yeah, I don't know why either, but we'll also be using our first instance of remote hookshot to get something called GIM, or Get Item Manipulation. I'm not really too knowledgeable on this since I've never actually like done it before. So I'm not sure if it works the same way as it does in OT. But basically we do the same inputs for hookshot or remote hookshot, and then we'll hold a hookshot, pause on a specific frame, open the chest, and then we'll hop into the water here, and then we will get light arrows.
Yeah. Way quicker than fighting the Garrow Master.
Yep, so that basically skips all of normal inverted stone tower.
Yeah, optimally...
Or no, not inverted.
Yeah, the
regular
optimal
stone tower.
route would just get it in Great Bay. Oops.
And then here's another example of bow extension. We're able to just clip our bow through the ramp there and just shoot the crystal switch to flip the temple.
Alright, last dungeon. And this run is rather short as well. I think Snowhead is the longest one. But yeah, now that we have light arrows, we can actually just shoot that block. Which is nice. I could equip you right now. And this trick is quite fun. Line up with the wall, jump slash, and we are up in that tunnel. Now a trick I fail sometimes. Let's see how it goes today. Something like that should work. Way too early. And we are on. Hello, Igor. Bye, Igor.
By Gore.
By Gore, indeed. And I will skip the Giant's Mask, since, well, I can. But maybe I will just...
You don't need that.
I don't know, maybe I... Oops, way too early.
Oh, okay, so we're seeing our first instance of a weird shot here. So there's a 2-frame window where we can roll while the bomb before the bomb explodes. It'll explode, and then if you hold target down left and press hookshot and advance to a specific frame, you can actually go underneath, like it'll displace Link's camera to underneath the floor here, so we can hookshot that BMOS. And then here we just do a slash setup to get into position, and then we just do a simple recoil flip to get past the boss door.
And we are at the worst boss of the game.
Debatably the worst boss.
You can pray for good shot RNG, because when I shoot arrows, it's basically RNG. I'm really bad at aiming. Okay,
Yeah.
got the double hit. Nice, got the
So if
double
we
hit.
can pull bomb there, or we can do a roll there immediately and then pull bomb and throw it, and then we'll be able to shoot blue Twin Mold's tail with fire arrows, and then the bomb will hit Twin Mold, dealing double damage. And then just 2 more shots to finish off blue. The opposite color of what they are in representation of elemental arrows, I believe. I don't know, what is it? It's like double damage?
No idea.
So since blue, or red is the opposite of blue, fire arrow does double damage to blue, and then normally ice arrows do double damage to red, but we don't have those, so light arrows will do just fine.
Oh no. I knew that was gonna happen. Okay, 1 more hit with light arrows. And this could be the best Twin Mold of my life.
Oh man.
Oh no, I don't have light arrows anymore. Oh, that hit. Nice. So many arrows, just spam! I think that's a major goal.
Good fight.
Not that I'm splitting, but it's the best segment I've had for Twin Mold.
Very nice. So yeah, the way the Twin Mold flies around the arena here is random. And then there's also a skill factor with aiming at the tail. And then our last instance of Remains escape here. And then thankfully we don't have to die for this one. There is a void out plane here in the sand that we can just go on roll to. So pretty convenient. Also, don't quote me on that, Asder. I could be wrong about the damage values for fire and ice arrows and light arrows. But if we just match C up there on the Remains text, it's really easy to not crash.
Okay, we are good on healing items, at least for Majora. I have the fairy, I have milk and the half milk in the Moon's Tear slot. So that should be fine.
Yep. So in case we need health for the Majora fight, we got milk.
Yeah, since the fairy is in a wrong or a not legitimate bottle, it won't activate when I die. Or if I die. I don't plan to die.
Sometimes Majora can be really weird and dumb.
Yep.
The remains that fly around the room shoot light balls at you, and they do 1 heart of damage, so if you get hit by those a lot, they kind of drain your health pretty fast. And then we are now going up to the moon.
Sag, no moon warp. But yeah, since we have a long cutscene now, I checked the incentives page, and what I noticed was we met the credits warp incentive for after this run. So after this run, I will change to the English version of the game and perform a credits warp of the vanilla Virtual Console file. So no hacks whatsoever, just the plain Wii Virtual Console version in English. And yeah, we can actually warp directly to the credits with, of course, using SRM, State Reference Manipulation.
Bonus trick, Pog.
Yeah, you do remember the times where people went like, oh, when do we find Moon Warp? That will be so Pog and hype. And yeah, nowadays nobody talks about Moon Warp.
Yeah, Moon Warp was originally the holy grail of Majora's Mask. For quite a long time it was. And then all of a sudden, towards the latter half of 2019, this game just got even more broken than it already is, along with Ocarina of Time. And we're able to do crazy stuff with stale reference manipulation and pace.
Yeah, exactly. You can beat Majora's Mask in like 18 minutes now. I think Regan's PB is 18 or something. Like, that's crazy. I didn't finish first cycle in that time.
Yeah.
And Ocarina of Time is, what, 6 minutes with intro skip? Or even below that? I don't remember. It's quite low.
Yeah, the any percent unrestricted category for this game has gone down a ton over the last few years.
Back then, when the current any percent no major glitches route was the true any percent, I think Enob has a 1:15:29, I believe, and that record stood forever until Hope came along, obviously. But yeah, that run was godlike back then, and not many people are capable of achieving that right now. But yeah, nowadays, just learn SRM and be done in 20 minutes. Well,
yeah,
around that time. When I started, any percent was still on the N64, since arbitrary code execution only works, or that specific application of Ace only worked on N64. Thanks, Riley, by the way. So that was when I joined, like summer 2020, around that time. Just when people had a lot of free time due to reasons. And yeah, this is a very fun category to run. Honestly, one of my favorite ones. I think only Hundo NSR, no source requirement, and like all dungeons SRM are more fun to me. But this one is good. And even if you're a beginner, the tricks are not that hard to learn, especially on the remote hookshot is really not that hard. Getting good at equip swaps may take some time. The hasses are optional, you can leave them. And yeah, all the cutscene skips are optional as well, so if you're just beginning to learn stuff, this might be a great category for you. But yeah, it requires some practice, of course, like every category does.
Yeah, this is definitely a more like if you want to do a glitch category that still does the full game, this is definitely a good one to learn. If you are interested in ever learning Majora's Mask, whether it be this category or a completely different one, if you go over to the ZSR page, not ZSR, the SRC page for MM, there should be a Discord link to the server where you can ask questions to get everything set up and learn the game. And also, since we activated 4th day, we have a very cool looking moon background here.
Oh yeah, the sky is gorgeous in that purple. Okay, yeah. I want more this. And a little magic. Yeah, we will make use of the power crouch stabs in this fight.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I will stop talking.
Yep, so first phase of Majora here, Mask phase. Pretty straightforward. We're basically going to be throwing our Zora rings at it to hit it from behind to stun it, and then we'll be using wide arrows to deal damage. And we'll basically just do that on repeat, but sometimes
this happens.
The rings can hit Majora again for like whatever reason, because good game. And that can get pretty annoying, because we want to do the damage with wide arrows.
Yeah. Want to get rid of magic. That's a weird angle.
Yeah, you kind of gotta hit it
no.
straight on. Yeah, if you the collision or the hitbox for the mask here is pretty jank. And now we're getting the remains fighting us.
Okay, at least it's not the like burn you to death phase.
Yeah, we have to be careful of one of the attacks Mask can do here. It can shoot a laser beam that will, if it hits you while you're wearing Zora, you'll end up voiding out and having to restart the fight.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, and Mask is not being nice right now. So yep, shooting the laser beam, safest to just take off Zora.
Nope, not you.
And if you tried to shield the beam there, you'd actually get hit. You can only reflect it with the mirror shield.
Okay, that went terribly. And I'm not in a great position here.
Yep, so we're basically hoping for luck here. We basically want the incarnation phase to just like speedrun his way right into Zora's barrier. So didn't get lucky, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to snipe it down with some arrows to stun it.
Where are you?
And then we store to stick jump slash so that we can just power crouch stab it to death.
Oh no. I will equip Milt now. And drink it, apparently. I wanted to shoot an arrow. Where's this freak?
So incarnation is very hard to stun because it's just constantly running around and it's hard to hit.
Okay.
Alright, we're chilling. Alright, thankfully Wrath phase is a little more straightforward. So we're basically gonna shoot a light arrow at Wrath, and for whatever reason, he doesn't jump. So normally if you shoot any other type of arrow, Wrath normally jumps away immediately, but with light arrows he just takes it like a champ. And that'll stun it, and then we're able to just keep it stun locked with power crouch stabs.
No.
So we need 9 to kill it.
Oh no, my position was off.
So now we need 8 crouch stabs. 7,
No.
6, yeah, the remains are being difficult here.
This could have PB'd actually if I didn't get hit. But now I'm just in a bad spot.
I don't know what number we're on. Yeah, time, yay.
I think we need to read time since I'm plus 0.4 seconds off my PB.
Oh man.
Whoa. Yikes, I tied my PB. But yeah, GG I guess.
GG's.
Woo! Okay, that went better in total than expected. I messed up quite a few things, so it could have been way better than that, but for marathon, potentially PBing, I take that.
That's pretty good. Nicely done. But wait, there's more.
There is more, yes, indeed. We still have the credits warp to do, and that will be fun, I guess, since I've only practiced that twice today and haven't done that a lot in the past couple of weeks or month. But it should be fine. I mean, we went like 20 minutes underestimate, so we should have plenty of time for the credit swap. Alrighty, I will need my Wiimote since I need to switch to the English version. Oh, excuse me. Okay, I thought my Wii just crashed, but it didn't. This English? Yes, it is. This is the English version. And yeah, I do have quite a lot of MM on my Wii page.
You know you're a true MM runner when you have like 50 different MM screens.
I think I have 5. Yeah, 5. English and practice. Japanese and practice and Master Quest. Okay. I already copied my race file, so let's go. Yeah, what we need is explosives. And currently we have 0. So we actually have to RNG farm bombs, which is quite common in SRM categories. Usually you get bomb back in first cycle and then Song of Time and don't have any bombs left. And then just hope for good RNG. And for spin attacks. I can't spin attack. Okay, 5 is not enough. Need at least 2 drops.
Yeah, bomb drops here in the patch of grass, specifically in Terminal Field that I'm aware of, are 1 in 16.
Yeah, that matches with my Python file I created to keep track of my RNG. Okay. I will reload the area once. Luckily, there's a grotto right here. So we can just do this. And we have more grass to cut. Come on, game. And that's usually how bomb RNG goes in marathons when you're showing off any SRM category. I think my ESA run of Hando NSR got terrible bomb RNG. Okay.
Dang.
Now, quick recoil flip through the fence. And now we have access to the observatory, which is quite important since this area, let me show that off. We have plenty of time. Has 2 parts of it. So we are here in the observatory room, and after that tunnel, if we step into the dark, the second half of this area loads. That's the bomber hideout. And since it's... Yeah, let's talk about memory stuff. When we transition from this room that has a very certain arrangement of all the actors stored in the heap, that's region in memory, and all the pots and the clock and the scarecrow and I forgot his name, Shirashi or something, are stored in the heap in memory. And if we transition to the other room, that part of the heap gets unloaded and everything else for the other room gets loaded in. But if we drop, let's say, a bomb or something, we increase the total amount and the order stuff is loaded in memory. So by transitioning through from room 1 to room 2 while dropping bombs or breaking pots or modifying actors and stuff, we can actually set up the heap in such a way that we can make use of it with another trick. So let's go ahead and set up the heap. I don't need any of those. Now I roll in here, I drop a bomb, I'll go back into hideout, go back again. I will then destroy this pot and this pot. And now I will drop 2 bombs and go into the loading trigger. And that way, the heap in memory is aligned in such a way that we can make Link hold seemingly nothing after super sliding, which is the technique we will cover in a bit, off of this pot right here, through this tunnel, and after we are through that dark area in the new room that has loaded, Link starts picking up this pot, but since this pot has been unloaded due to the loading plane, Link will pick up something else instead. And that is, in this case, invisible. So this invisible thing we are holding is set stay a reference. And that reference still matches anything a pot or anything else Link would be holding. So it has an angle, it has position data, and we can manipulate those angle data and stuff to values we want somewhere in memory. And if we, for instance, get angle 3349, which is exactly the angle we need, we can warp to the credits. Alright, let's do that. For this, we need to make sure that we super slide off of this pot, but are not watching or not looking at the pot while sliding through that plane. And for that trick to work, we need another camera trick called inverted cam, which is this. I'm targeting, but Link is looking to the right. I can do like this, like Link looks right at the player, but we want looking to the right here in particular. Now I need to line up Link in a specific way, like here, drop a bomb, walk here, shield, and roll in a certain frame window. And then Link will be sliding backwards like crazy, and we can do stuff. Okay, let's put that to the test. See whether theory and the practice match up. Okay, now we're holding nothing. And this nothing, as I said, has angle data and stuff. And when we line up here and do quick setup, way too early. One more. That was 2. Oh boy, buffering is not my friend today. Okay, what is wrong? I mean, my execution is wrong, but why? Hold on. Maybe I need to untap it. Maybe that is the frame? It's been a while. If we don't get it, the game will just crash. Okay, I keep getting this frame. Okay, let's do it from here. There's a visual cue I can use. Okay, this should work. Okay, so I was getting the correct frame. And with ESS turning, I can make sure to get angle 3349. God, that's hard to see. Is that the angle? Okay, that's too far. I dropped the pot, or what else I just had. Press Ocarina. Play Song of Time. And hopefully, this won't work. This can't work, because I'm stupid. I'm so stupid. Let me just reset. I forgot the most important part of the setup. The part here in Observatory went fine, but I forgot the part before that. Oops. So we will speedrun through that once again. What I need to do before I enter the observatory. It's been a while. Bear with me. is set up our position, or our respawn coordinates in particular. In the English version, if you play Song of Double Time, the game stores your X, Y, and Z coordinates in somewhere in memory. And we can make use of them. And I need to do this stupid setup. 4, 5, 6. ESS down to here. Okay, playing Song of Double Time. And now this position is saved in memory. And usually the game uses these coordinates for if you void out or, I don't know, do stuff, you will end up at that point on the map again. But we will rearrange stuff in memory so that the angle we will get actually overrides stuff. And that way, okay, I could go for the Hess.
We got all the bomb drops.
Oh yeah. Angle change through, and we did it. That's another way to get into observatory. Quite a lot harder than the recoil flip, but all the bombs made it possible. Okay, let's do this again. Break all of these, collect the loot. The loot is separately loaded into memory. Drop a bomb. Go back again. Break. 1, 2. Okay, inverted cam, which is a pain to learn. Okay, I will reset that up. Luckily the explosion doesn't matter at all. Okay, we go again. That's too far. And now Link has wonky colors. That's a good sign, actually. That's not a good sign. I keep missing the correct frame. One frame too many. That's correct. Yeah, with SRM you can make weird things happen. It's you can have the clock in your hand, the scarecrow, everything, and we are in the credits now. GG.
Very nice.
Yeah, I don't think
That was a better explanation than what I could have provided.
Well, I've done that many times. So, yeah, you've never run any SRM category, right?
I've done SRM in the past, but I'm not good at explaining it.
Okay. Yeah, I've explained SRM quite a bunch of times throughout the years, but I'm pretty sure I'm not really knowledgeable about the depth this track has. I mean, explain the basic stuff, like, oh, we're swapping stuff in memory, but what exactly are we swapping? I have no idea. We would need Turkenheimer for that.
Yeah, but nicely done.
Yeah. Shout outs to the MM crew. Great being in your community still. Always fun to talk, do runs, do races, experience new tricks firsthand, and yeah, it's still really, really fun learning new stuff from experienced runner like Dope. So shoutouts to Dope for commentating. And yeah,
No problem.
I have no idea what to talk about, so let's stop it here
Go follow Genesis on Twitch.
and follow Dope. All right, that's it from us, I think. So